In this Starship update, Booster 4 returns to the orbital launch mount for a static fire, Ship 20 regains its Raptors, and Booster 5 begins stacking. Hi everyone, I'm Ian Atkinson with NASA Spaceflight, here to give you an overview of the SpaceX Boca Chica facilities as of early September 2021. All of the following photos and videos were captured by NASA Spaceflight team members Mary, Nick Sweeney, Stephen Marr, and our team of robotic cameras. The Return of the King. Booster 4 returned to the orbital launch mount this week, boasting some upgrades and finished work. This marks the second time it has been mounted on the launch pad, following the first full Starship stacking in early August. Booster 4 spent most of August and the beginning of September back in the high bay, while workers installed some of the last equipment and aerodynamic covers onto the vehicle. At the same time, Booster 4 regained its set of 29 Raptor engines, which were removed for testing following the early August stacking. Initially, it was unknown exactly why Booster 4 was returning to the orbital launch site. However, Elon Musk confirmed on Friday that SpaceX hopes to perform a static fire test of Booster 4 this upcoming week. It seems that the main holdup with that goal will be the ground support equipment, so we'll have to see how work on that progresses this week. Speaking of ground support equipment, the tank farm has made quick progress over the past 2 weeks. We've seen countless pipes being installed at the tank farm, as well as at the launch pad. Also, GSE tank number 7 was rolled out, installed on its concrete mount, and sleeved with an insulating shell. At the production site, GSE tank number 8 is finishing up stacking inside the mid-bay. Contrary to its name, this will be the 7th and final GSE tank for the launch site. The numbering is a little strange because the parts for GSE number 4 were reassigned to build a small test tank, requiring an additional full-size tank to be built. Said small tank completed its test campaign in late August, before being moved back to the production site on August 31st. It's unknown what the small tank's future holds, but the two likely paths are scrapping or being converted into a water tank. Just next door to the tank farm, the orbital launch mount and tower are progressing quickly. The tower's new quick disconnect arm was installed 2 weeks ago, and what may be an extension for it was spotted at the production site. The extension looks kind of like a claw, meaning that it could be a stabilizer for a Starship mounted on the pad. The two catch arms, named the Chopsticks by SpaceX, are making quick progress on the ground. These two structures will swing together to catch a landing Super Heavy booster between them, which is why they earn the name Chopsticks. They will eventually be installed onto the launch tower, but they will not be needed for at least the first flight, since no recovery will be attempted until the second mission, at the earliest. Just next door to the orbital launch site, Ship 20 resides on suborbital pad B, awaiting its own test campaign. Crews have spent the last few weeks doing additional work on the vehicle, namely installing its final heat shield tiles. Ship 20 is the first Starship to sport a full heat shield, which will be necessary if it wants to stand a chance against atmospheric re-entry. To be on the safe side, every tile was inspected and labeled with tape. It's unclear if the different colors meant anything, but as the days went on, pieces of tape disappeared one by one as crews inspected and replaced the tiles. This process of tile inspection and replacement on Ship 20 is somewhat similar to that on the Space Shuttle inside its own processing facility, albeit with a much faster pace. Also, Ship 20 received the first 3 of what may be its final set of Raptor engines on September 6th. Similar to Booster 4, Ship 20 had a full set of Raptors installed for the August stacking, which were removed when it returned to the production site. The engines installed on the 6th were 3 sea-level Raptors, numbers 73, 78, and 69. I've been wondering when that last one would show up. Nice. Anyway, these 3 engines will help power Ship 20 on its ride to orbit, and will reignite for a landing back on Earth. However, Ship 20 will only perform a simulated landing out in the Pacific Ocean, far from any populated areas. But, unlike other Starships in the past, Ship 20 will also need a set of 3 Raptor vacuum engines. These engines are optimized to perform best in the vacuum of space, instead of inside Earth's atmosphere. They will dramatically improve Starship's performance and payload capability. The first such engine was rolled to the launch site on September 10th, with more likely to follow soon. Ship 20 will later perform a cryogenic proof test, where it will be filled with liquid nitrogen, a much less reactive and much safer liquid than Starship's propellants. This test will ensure that Ship 20 can withstand flight pressures while holding cryogenic liquid. After that, the next step will likely be the static fire, where a small amount of liquid methane and liquid oxygen propellants are loaded into Ship 20, and a quick firing of its Raptor engines occurs. It's currently unknown if they will only fire the 3 sea-level Raptors, or if the 3 Raptor vacuum engines will be tested as well. And just next to Ship 20, the remains of Booster 3 still stand tall on suborbital Pad A. Booster 3 was a Pathfinder Super Heavy booster, which performed its own cryogenic proof test and static fire in July. The booster was partially scrapped in the middle of August, but then work stopped for an unclear reason. No matter the reason, Booster 3 remains on Pad A, watching its successor get ready for flight. Back at the production site, stacking is about to begin for Booster 5. The common dome section, which separates the liquid methane and liquid oxygen tanks, was moved into the high bay on September 10th. The booster's forward dome was sleeved on the following day. Several barrel sections are also sitting at the production site, many of them likely intended to become part of Booster 5. Booster 5 will carry Ship 21 to orbit on the second orbital flight test. Should the current plans hold, this booster may be the first to attempt a catch by the chopstick arms. And just next door to the new high bay, foundation work continues for the new high bay. This building will be slightly taller, but much wider than the existing high bay. It will allow SpaceX to assemble multiple boosters and ships at the same time, as well as provide more storage space and more processing space. Crews have already begun laying concrete for the new large building, and we'll have to keep an eye out for the first delivery of beams and wall segments. And that's it for this week. If you'd like to support the channel, consider subscribing and becoming a channel member, with several cool perks available for our channel members. Thanks for watching, and have a great week.